Hello guys and welcome back to another weekly What I've Watched. So it was ridiculously bad. I hadn't watched very much and over the weekend I sort of caught up, so I've got a few movies to speak to you about that I've been watching. So let's get the old Letterboxd up and talk to you about what I've been watching this past week. Okay guys, let's have a look where we got to. I think we got to the 24th, The Most Dangerous Animal of All, which is that documentary about the guy that feels like his father, that basically he never knew his biological father was potentially the Zodiac killer. I still haven't went back to that, I haven't finished, so let's skip on to the 28th. The Most Hated Man on the Internet. Oh my goodness. I cannot even tell you how strongly I felt about this. So this covers the story of of a person called Hunter Moore. Now, everyone has heard of revenge porn. This is basically the start of it. This guy set up a website called, was it Up All Night? Something about Up? At least it's forgotten. Anyway, he started this website where individuals could submit photographs, usually photographs of ex-girlfriends. Also, there were some males on there where people had split up. The person had maybe sent intimate photographs and then they could upload these intimate photographs to this site for other people's enjoyment. And they would not just have these photographs, they would name the girls and it would link to their personal social medias, like their Facebook profiles and things. There in some cases would be addresses, telephone numbers, what school they went to, all kinds of things. And this guy set up this website to do this. But that wasn't quite enough for him, and he went on to work with someone else to hack individuals' accounts. And he was very clever about how he did it, so be very careful, people, about... I mean, this is just one example. He would duplicate an entire Facebook account of someone's friend. He would then email the target and say, oh, I've just got locked out of my account. I'm going to give your email address as like a secondary. I can't get onto it to get the code. Can you tell me what the code is that comes through and then I can type it in? And you're going to say, not a problem, and you will send it through. And this person on the other end would be using this code to take over your email address. And then he would change the password, you'd have full access, he would infiltrate social media. He would look for any evidence of photographs. Some of the photos that were on this site were photos that these women, it was always women that hadn't ever given them to anyone else, they'd taken them for themselves, and they had maybe got them in their email account, out of the way, hidden. And this guy found them and put them up, and it goes through the story of the site, of several women's different experiences, of people trying to get it taken down. Really, really interesting story. This guy is loathsome. You will watch this and you will seethe with anger. It's really, really interesting, the people that actually go up against him and where it all ends up. So if you like documentaries about this kind of thing, it was really interesting. I would thoroughly recommend it. I give that one a 4 out of 5. Next evening I watched this little Irish flick called Dating Amber. This was really sweet. So this covers, there's some, oh, it's quite a popular one. So let me just open that and then you can see those individuals' scores at the bottom there. This follows Eddie and Amber, who are in secondary school. Eddie is gay, Amber is a lesbian. They are being teased mercilessly. They're just sick and tired of it. The boys are trying to like push Eddie to get with a girl. He's not interested, but he has to pretend he is because he doesn't want anyone to know he's gay. It's back in that time where people couldn't be out and proud as a lot of people can. No, a lot of people still can't today, I'm aware of that, but they basically concoct this story together where they're going to pretend they're boy and girlfriend, and they're just going to do it till school finishes, and she's got intentions of leaving and starting somewhere else. He doesn't really know what he's going to do. But this follows what happens to them at school, their relationship, the budding friendship, and obviously invariable difficulties along the way. It's really sweet, the performances are wonderful. I would thoroughly recommend it. I just thought it was an altogether really, really sweet movie. There's the people that you've got in it, Finn O'Shea and Lola Pettigrew. I know her name from somewhere. So yeah, check that one out, I would recommend. Okay, on the same evening now, I really enjoyed this and I looked at the scores that other people had given it. You can see there 3 people have scored it quite badly, to be honest. So, after a governor issues an executive order to arrest the children of undocumented immigrants, the detained youth are offered an opportunity to have their charges dropped by volunteering to provide care to the elderly. Once inside the elder care facility, they discover more twisted secrets that they could have possibly imagined. I like this. I like the performances. Let me scroll down to show you the actors involved there. Basically, they're in this old people's home, they're looking after them, but it becomes very clear very quickly that something's wrong in this place. Something's wrong with the residents. And it's like a mystery to get to the bottom of what's going on before they themselves fall foul of what's actually going on there. I really enjoyed this. I don't know why everyone's scoring it so low. Maybe, I don't know. I liked it. So I would say it's better than people are saying, or maybe it's just one of those movies I liked and other people didn't, but I would recommend American Carnage. On the next evening, Rogue Agent. Okay, this is one that popped up on Netflix, I believe. Now, the reason I watched this, if you watch my channel, you may or may not remember me doing a video, I think it was called The Puppet Master. This basically covered this guy that fooled all these people into thinking he was an MI5 agent, and he took them off around the country, got loads of money from their parents. He basically was a master manipulator. It was a really interesting documentary. This is a movie about his relationship with a particular woman. Alice, I've forgotten her surname. Let's scroll down. Alice Archer, played by Gemma Arterton, which made my husband very happy. He's a big fan of Gemma Arterton. So this basically, we in the documentary see the side of like a group of people he brings away with him, and we speak to their parents. In this, we see how he manipulates and gets close to this Alice Archer. He becomes her partner. It shows the grooming process. This is a very intelligent woman. She's a lawyer. And it shows his inevitable downfall. We do know from the documentary in the end he is caught. I don't personally think punished enough, but this sort of like is a window into how he does it. Really interesting. I give it a 3 out of 5. I would have preferred to follow those 3 individuals he took in the car at the start. He told them that there were existing IRA members in the university that they were going to, and he needed them to be on side to work as spies, and their families were in danger and all this stuff. I would have liked to follow that side of things, but we follow this other story, which is really good, but I'd have preferred the other side of things personally. And on the next evening, Duel. Right, okay, I've been wanting to say this for quite some time. This is, oh yes, that's quite popular as well. There's the scores down there, you can see. Oh, Florentina didn't like this at all, a 1 out of 5. So, a terminally ill woman opts for a cloning procedure to ease her loss on her friends and family. When she makes a miraculous recovery, her attempts to have her clone decommissioned fail and lead to a court-mandated duel to the death. Exactly what it says. So, I think I know why Florentina didn't like this, and it is quite divisive. This stars, sorry about my Karen Gillan, who's obviously Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad's in it as well. I love his character. So she is dying. There's this procedure you can do where you can have an exact clone of yours made so that your loved ones will still have you. Some people choose not to say that they've died and this clone replaces them, and some people, their loved one knows what's happening. In her case, her loved ones know what's happening. But she recovers. There's 2 of her because there's this like crossover period where the clone has to learn from the original mannerisms, the way they laugh, the way they speak, learn about their life. So in this crossover period, everyone has met the clone, and people in her life prefer the clone to her. She has to get rid of this clone, but it basically mandates that they must duel to the death. So this covers that whole process. It covers right from the start. The duel, I think, is a year after the application for the duel. Now, what is wrong with this movie is the manner in which it is delivered. The story's really interesting. I actually had to Google. Everyone delivers their performance in a very monotone, robotic tone. Everyone appears not to be almost human. Everybody, they don't act normally. They don't express themselves normally, and it is quite jarring. And I can understand a lot of people really having issue with that. Personally, the story itself was enough to keep me really engaged. I really enjoyed it. It was a decision by the director that they were going to act this way because some of the things they're doing and saying is so extreme that he felt that saying them in a very monotone, lack of emotion voice was more impactful, more funny, because it's quite a dark comedy in places. Some of the things they're saying you just cannot believe they're saying, that people are accepting. So yeah, it was a conscious decision, but it is something that a lot of people will find really uncomfortable. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, 3 out of 5. I would recommend you check it out, but be aware if you're watching it and you think, why are they talking like that? That happens the whole way through the movie. So, okay, so on that same evening, now this is one that was brought to my attention by Aaron from Screen Stars, American Werewolves. Why won't it click in? Here we go. So what do they call them? Bipedal or something? It doesn't say there. So each year, dozens of encounters with upright candids are reported in North America. These beings often behave in similar ways, with many reports recounting a creature that is aggressive, ghastly, and disturbing. While many theorize that the dogman is some sort of unidentified species of animal, many believe that what they were confronted with was something else, something more. So this is actually a documentary interviewing many individuals that believe they have had encounters with what me and you would call a werewolf. A bipedal, very tall, between 6 and 8 foot individual with the head of a dog. Very long arms, claws, all of that stuff. There's no proof, there's no video footage, there's no photographs, it's just full of interviews. Now, I just find this sort of thing really interesting. I'm not saying I believe they've seen werewolves. It's some of the stories are so interesting and a couple of the individuals are very believable. I'm one of these people that's very much open to the idea of anything. So I just found it really interesting to watch, interesting to listen to. I didn't score it very high, 1.5, purely because there was no proof of anything provided. And I thought with all these individual cases, someone should have proof somewhere of something. And there's not even a recording of a noise, nothing. So yeah, I gave it a 1.5. It's very much something, if it's your cup of tea, watch it. If you're thinking, you'll probably not enjoy it. So 1.5. I do apologise, by the way, if you can hear faint children in the background. My neighbour's kids, we're a detached house, we're not even joined together, and they just scream and cry all day long at the top of their lungs. So if you can hear that, I do apologise. Yeah, I can hear that. Okay, so over the weekend, I sort of thought, Lisa, you haven't watched hardly anything. Get some stuff watched so you can talk about it this week. So, Not Okay. This is one that was brought to my attention by Sean from Lost in the Reel, the lovely Sean. Okay, so how much do we say? So Sean had said that the biggest stumbling block with this is how unlikable this protagonist is. She is so unlikable that a warning comes up at the start of the movie that if very unlikable protagonist. So I didn't feel quite as strongly as Sean about that. I'll just show you. There, Sean gave it a 2.5. That's different people's scores. So we follow, what's her name? Is it Amber something? I've forgotten. Sorry guys. Danny Sanders, played by Zoe. Is it Deutsch? Deutsch. Zoe Deutsch. She's fantastic in this. She is a girl that is not very likable. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have the best relationship with her mother. She wants madly to be popular. She even says at the start of this that she hates the fact that she was away when 9/11 happened because it means that she didn't get to be part of that, as in that feeling of togetherness of people that have experienced the same thing. So obviously that's a bit of a thing to come out with. She tells a lie that she's gone to Paris to be part of a writers' club. It does say there in the blurb, so it's not really spoiling much, but when she's there doing these fake Instagram pictures under the Arc de Triomphe and the Eiffel Tower, a terrorist attack actually happens for real in Paris. She's meant to be there. She's not. She's at home in her apartment. But when she comes back, everybody's like, oh my god, you were there, are you okay? She could tell the truth. She chooses to pretend she was a part of this terrorist attack and that she's suffering. And it just shows the bigger and bigger and bigger hole she is digging for herself. Now, I understood her as a character. I didn't necessarily agree with her, and at times I really didn't like her, but I could understand where she was coming from. The stupidity of youth sometimes And some of the things that young people do and say, they look back on in later years like, oh my god, I can't believe I was such a dick. And this girl is the utmost of those things. I don't think she's completely irredeemable though. I do feel she grows through the movie. I didn't hate her as much as everyone that I know that's seen it, but it's really well acted. I found it thoroughly engaging, really interesting. You probably will hate her through a lot of this, just be warned, but I would recommend. I really enjoyed this one, guys. What did I give it? A 3.5 out of 5. Okay guys, we've only got 3 to go. So the Phantom of the Open. Right, so this is one that I've been wanting to see for ages. My dad is a massive golfing person. He really wanted to see this, couldn't see it, he doesn't go to the cinema or anything like that. So my dad actually bought this as soon as it came out. So the Phantom of the Open, this, I cannot believe this is a true story, it's just madness. So this guy called Maurice Fieldcroft, he's from the north of England, he's a very normal, typical, I think he worked in the shipyards. He decides one day that he wants to be someone, he's not happy with where his life has gone, and he decides he's going to enter himself into the Open Golf Tournament, World Tournament. And when he's filling out the form, he doesn't understand what the handicap is. He has to state he has a specific handicap to be entered as an amateur. Because he doesn't understand that, he ticks the box for professional because he feels it will go through much faster. This guy cannot play golf. This guy is bad. But this guy gets onto the Open. He gets onto the TV, and I think the score, oh my goodness, it's awful. But this guy's a dreamer and you cannot help but love him. Mark Rylance, who is an amazing actor, BFG, I just love him. He plays this guy, and watching this through and understanding that this is true, and at the end we do get some real video footage of Maurice Fieldcroft on TV, it's just madness. He even changes his name and tries to enter it as a Frenchman, and he apparently he did that several other times. Really entertaining, very British. It won't appeal to everyone. It's quintessentially nice British drama comedy. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend. And there's Florentina. Loved it. She gave it a 5 out of 5. Florentina is from London, so she's British. I would say some people not from the UK that like a lot going on in their movies, this isn't for you. But if you like just something really sweet, easy to watch with an occasional chuckle, check this out. It's a lovely movie, so I give that a 4 out of 5. Okay, penultimate, Last Seen Alive. Okay, do you want to see my review? Gerard Butler repeatedly calling my name elevated it by half a star. So, Gerard Butler's wife is called Lisa. They're having marriage difficulty. He is dropping her off at her parents' house. She wants a little time on her own to decide where she goes forward with the marriage. On the way, he has to stop for fuel in a gas station, and in the process of that, she disappears. This movie is about him trying to get to the bottom of what's happened to her. Obviously, she's been taken. She couldn't have just disappeared. She couldn't have got away on her own. Where is she? What's happened? This is what the whole movie is. It's very much painting by numbers. It's a typical action movie. I'll be honest, I watched it because Gerard Butler was in it, and when I discovered his wife's name was Lisa and I had to keep saying it, that did make me watch it a little bit more. It's okay. Some people will, let me see, there's your Jamie Powell 2.5. I think I gave it a 2.5 as well. So there's scores by people on my friends list. David liked it, DTN Horror, gave it a 4 out of 5. Brian Lomax, 3.5. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was anything I hadn't seen before. 2.5. I've seen Gerard Butler in a lot better than this. Okay, and finally last night in my bed I watched Flea. I've been wanting to see this for a long time and I've only just got around to it. I found it on Disney+. Flute. So, this follows Amin. I'll read this, it's easier than me waffling. He arrived as an unaccompanied minor in Denmark from Afghanistan. Today at 36, he is a successful academic and is getting married to his long-term boyfriend. A secret he has been hiding for over 20 years threatens to ruin his life, the life he has built for himself. For the first time, he is sharing his story with his close friend. So I will actually I'll put this on the screen. No, that's Brad. Hello, Brad. So there's the scores other people have given it. That'll give you an idea. So obviously this is an animation. This follows the story right from when Amin is a young boy in Afghanistan, the terror, the army going round and sweeping up teenage boys to join the army. They had to, they had no choice. His father is taken, they don't know where he is, they never find out where he was. And basically any teenage boy is like on the run, is hiding. They don't want to go join the army, but basically these people have nothing. They have to leave their homes. They live as like on the run. They've nowhere to go. This follows the story of the family bit by bit trying to get out of where they are. I don't want to tell you too much to where they end up, and the trials and tribulations and the heartache and just all the experiences that they go through. Beautifully animated performances. The voice actors in this, wonderful, really engaging. I loved it. I thought it was really, really interesting, and it gave a real insight into what these people went through, what they continue to go through. And obviously we do touch on the fact, obviously Amin is gay, and that is something that in Afghanistan, it even says in the movie that there's not a word for it in Afghanistan because it's just not accepted. It's not something that you can be. It's not something that you can express. But yeah, it had some really lovely little light-hearted moments with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, because as a boy growing up, he loved Jean-Claude Van Damme a little bit more than just for an actor. And there's some lovely moments of humour spattered through there, along with just real heart-wrenching moments. So guys, that is what I watched this last week. Let me know if there's any you would like to check out, or what you thought of any of the ones that I've watched. I'd be really interested to see any of your opinions on American Carnage, because I don't know why people have rated it so lowly. I enjoyed it. Oh, I watched another series called Keep Breathing, I believe. It's on Netflix. It's a 6-part. Each episode's around about 45 minutes, maybe 50, and it follows a woman that has basically a plane that she's been on, a very small aircraft has crashed. She's the sole survivor on an island, and this follows basically what happens to her. It's very much told by flashback. We get to know her and her life by things that she's thinking on the island, so it constantly flashes back, I think a bit too much. If you look at movies like Castaway with Tom Hanks, we get to see how to do this genre, how to do this properly. We want to see more of the survival side of things, more of her struggles, her attempts to escape, her attempts to get to safety. But this is mostly her flashing back to a budding relationship and it growing, her flashing back to relationship with her mother, relationship with her father, and there's a lot of that. I feel if this had have been condensed into a movie, it could have been much better, but drawn out over 6 long episodes, I feel it was just a little bit dragging, a little bit slow. I would say it's worth a watch. It's not going to be the best thing you've ever seen, it's okay, but yeah, I watched that this week as well. And yes guys, I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I think I'm at 70-something% completion now, I can't remember, or is that the England one? So I've bought the pack, the add-on pack for Ireland, and I've completed that, and I've bought now one called the Siege of Paris, and I've just completed that, but I have to go around and find all the little artifacts and treasures and all that stuff, so and carry out some missions for the rebels in Paris. So that's what I'm doing right now. Well, not right now, clearly, but that's what I'm doing on an evening. I'm aware that God of War's coming out soon, and I'm desperate for that one, but I think that one's going to wait till December. But yeah, that is what's going on with me, folks. I shall be doing a live Q&A session soon. I haven't decided exactly when yet. I do have questions that I've kept. So if you have any questions, pop them below. I will take a note of them and I will answer them all on the live stream. I'll be quacking in my shoes, but it has to be done, guys. You need to push yourself, don't you? So thanks again for watching, guys, and I shall see you next week. Over and out from Lisa Lives.